Our Bible study in James brought this story to mind. Don't ask me how, it would take too long to explain, but trust me as I return to The Orthodox Heretic and Other Impossible Tales, written by Peter Rollins. In this parable, we meet a wise and tender blacksmith. However, in my retelling, I brought the story from a provincial village up into a more contemporary setting. So, again, with my apologies to Peter Rollins, here is my retelling of Great Misfortune. Rachel had known great misfortune through life, having lost her husband and children to disease and war. The lines on her face, even though she was not old, betrayed her pain. Indeed, many days she barely had the strength to carry on. But there was one, a shop owner on one of the many pedestrian-friendly streets in town, who had drawn alongside her in sorrow. He often sat on a bench in front of his shop, engaging passers-by in conversation, and people soon learned that even though he was a large man, he was not intimidating. In fact, there was a calmness to him, a gentle, humble quality. Rachel was not one of his regulars, but they had often talked on that bench, and so when Rachel's husband died, he came by the house. She gave him a hug, and he put his hand on her shoulder and with great sincerity said, "I'm so sorry that you have suffered this great misfortune, and if you will allow me, I would like to stand with you at this time of hardship." She invited him in, and after she turned off the TV, she sat near him and they shared a time of silence with each other. Ever since that encounter, the shopkeeper continued to visit Rachel, sometimes to chat, sometimes to listen, and sometimes just to bring food. Over the next few years, as each new calamity befell Rachel, the shopkeeper would be there to speak and cry with. One day, when Rachel was particularly depressed, she turned on her TV to find her favorite preacher on YouTube. He was the pastor of a large church in town, but she had never visited the huge campus. It was on this day that she decided to take the big step and visit this preacher so as to try and make some sense of her life. He was very busy, but his secretary took pity on her and squeezed her in the following week. She found the preacher to be as youthful and energetic as he appeared on TV, but he sat quietly as he listened to her story. When she was done, he nodded to show he knew exactly what Rachel needed to hear. He said, "You have indeed suffered some great misfortune, but I want you to know that God has a plan. You see, in order for great fortune to take place, one must first suffer great misfortune. The suffering you have faced is the price that has to be extracted for strength of character and spirit forged in the fires of hell." On her way home, Rachel's entire experience was running through her mind. Surely, she thought, I must take these words seriously, for this man's popularity and success must certainly indicate that he has also suffered great misfortune. But when she got home, her apartment was cold and she was alone. She sat down, fumbled with the remote, then with her phone, but decided she didn't want to watch anything. Just then, the shopkeeper knocked on the door, and Rachel, as always, welcomed him in. As they sat together, they drank whiskey and talked long into the night. That evening, Rachel shared the words of the preacher with her friend, adding, "Perhaps now that I have been given these words of comfort, you no longer need to visit as you have done so often." The shopkeeper simply looked at the floor for a few moments and then replied, "My dear friend, if what the preacher has said is true, then I am needed all the more. For if you had to suffer such great misfortune in order to find strength of character and wealth of spirit, then this is in itself a great misfortune." So they sat late into the night, bringing comfort and warmth to each other through the sharing of their lives. Hidden in the book of James are the elements of true community: impartiality, humility, vulnerability, wisdom, and prayer. In a true community, there are no canned or easy answers to life's difficult questions. In a true community, the best wisdom comes from God when we ask for it. In a true community, the most complete healing comes when we serve each other. In a true community, there is no flying solo, and there's no such thing as they don't need to know. Because rather than being selfless, that is actually a form of selfishness. And as Rollins reminds us, the gentle act of presence is the balm for the wounded soul.